Once upon a time, there lived a man who was exceptionally wise. Hundreds of people would come to seek his advice. The good word about this man spread throughout the kingdom. When the king himself learned of the wise man, he decided to invite him to his palace. The king ordered his courtiers to escort him to the wise man. When the king saw him, he said, "You shouldn't waste your time here. If you become my chief minister, you will bring more benefit to the kingdom." The wise man agreed to go to the palace with the king and become his chief minister, but with one condition. He asked the king to allocate a room in the palace for him, where he intended to spend some time every day. No one should enter that room, try to sneak in through cunning or force. The king agreed to this condition. He said, "Of course, we will allocate such a room for you, and no one, not even I, will peek into it. Why would anyone need to see what's in it?" The wise man became the king's chief minister. He was given clothing suitable for his new status, and the room he requested was assigned to him. Whenever the chief minister needed to make an important decision, he would lock himself in his room. Over the year, his decisions made the kingdom even more prosperous. There was no one who didn't admire the wisdom of the minister. But rumors began to spread about his room. Courtiers whispered among themselves, speculating that someone else lived in the minister's room, someone who helped the minister make important decisions. Various rumors circulated. Courtiers spoke of the minister's secret being potentially dangerous for the kingdom. In this situation, the king couldn't just stand aside. He summoned the minister and told him that he wanted to see his room. The wise man was adamant. He reminded the king of the word he had once given him. And if that word were broken, the wise man would leave the palace. The king trusted the minister and didn't want to lose such a wise advisor. But the courtiers insisted on inspecting the room. Perhaps there was a hidden threat there, and the king succumbed to his fears. They waited until the wise man was away from the palace, and at that time they broke into his room. To their surprise, they found nothing and no one in the room. It was empty. In one corner hung the wise man's old clothes, and there stood his alms bowl. At that moment, the wise man returned to the palace and found that his room had been broken into. The king demanded an explanation from the wise man as to why he kept his old clothes. The wise man replied, "I come here, change into my old clothes, and sit by the alms bowl every time I'm required to make an important decision. At that moment, nothing and no one influences me, neither other ministers, nor fancy clothing, nor precious items, nor the splendor of the palace." Having said this, the chief minister took his old clothes, his alms bowl, and left the palace. This Eastern parable reminds each person making an important decision of the necessity to rid themselves of any influence at that moment, to eliminate any external influence from people or things. A person must make a decision when they have clarity of perception and nothing hinders them. Only then can they truly understand what matters to them in the long run, not for someone else. Only then can they make an important and truly wise decision that they won't regret, and that will turn out to be beneficial for them.